Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders What podcast. Today, I have a part two of a phenomenal, wonderful conversation I started last week with one of the most incredible expert and friend I met on the podcast, Mr. Nikhil Rugani from Australia. I mean, me and him, when we talk for hours. This is almost an hour and a half. We've been talking, just talking about life, about business, about lifestyle, about KL. I'm based in KL. He's been in KL, talking planning and how amazing it is here. So me and him, we can talk for hours. So listen, come here. I'll take it to one of those nice lounges. We have whiskey and cigar and chit chat all night long. And looking
That'll
forward.
be amazing.
But for now, we're here for part two of our wonderful conversation we had last week. So, Nikhil, brother, welcome back to the show.
Man, thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to be sitting here and having chats with you, man. It's
absolutely, pleasure's all mine.
It's the best.
So tell me,
let's do it.
What makes you excited today about waking up when you woke up this morning?
What makes me excited? What made me excited this morning? Do you know what? Possibilities. The possibilities of, since we last spoke, I think there's been some shifts emotionally, mentally, physically, dare I say even spiritually, right? And I realized, man, I've been serving coaches and transformational people for the last 13 years, would you believe it? 13 years. My daughter's 13 years old, and that's when I actually started my freelance copywriting agent business, right? And I've been serving coaches for a number of years, and I have been going through this detox. And, it's to kind of cleanse out your body. It makes you poop and do weird things. And, you want to have these weird herbal supplements and all that stuff. But in the process of your body really cleaning out, my mind and my emotions just started stabilizing. And in this place of peace and in this place of calm, what emerged was real enthusiasm, right? Real enthusiasm, not this fake stuff, not this motivational rah-rah stuff, but a real enthusiasm for wanting to go out there and make a massive impact to the world, right? And I realized that I've been so focused and so passionate about health and well-being, especially mine, but also for everyone else, that I just naturally evangelize this. It's like, man, you should do this. You got to get on this live payment. Like, seriously, if you've never done a detox before, do this one. This is amazing, right? It gives you revelations. I don't know what they've laced with the detox herbs, but I tell you what, it's mind-opening and elevating. And the excitement that I've got is not this, oh my God, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to take over the world, I'm going to, fly my Lambo copter into a mountain of cocaine. And it's nothing like that, right? It's this enthusiasm. It's like, you know what? I'm slowly building a new wing to my business where we're actually going to be serving health coaches. We're going to be serving natural therapists. We're going to be searching people in the healing space. Because at the moment, the biggest thing I'm seeing in the world is that we're selling our lives to hustle. We're selling our lives for the almighty dollar. And look, I'm going to be the first person to say I work in a capitalist industry, right? Copywriting is very much about how do we generate more leads and get more sales and grow revenues. But when it gets to the point where people are forgetting their families, when people are forgetting their own lives, when they start chasing the dollar because that's all they know, we know that there's a serious problem. Now, I think this has always been there, but what we're seeing now on the internet, what we're seeing now on social media is the pretentious lifestyle where people are pretending they've got it all made. And then people start feeling this sense of FOMO. Yeah, they start seeing this sense of FOMO. And this is a very roundabout way of me answering your question. So you got to bear with me because I'm going to give you context around this.
Beautiful, right? Loving it. Yeah.
So I wake up and I'm thinking, I've been so focused on health. I've been so focused on my health, and I just naturally evangelize it. I could easily go out there and become, a therapist or a health coach or something like that. That's easy. Anyone can go out and get a certification. I'm qualified in NLP. I'm qualified in hypnotherapy. I'm learning the ancient Indian science of Ayurveda, which is, healing. I do this because I'm passionate about it. But let's say, how many people could I see in a day? I could see maybe 30 people in a day. Yeah?
You've been working pretty hard.
I've been working pretty hard if I saw 30 people in a day. But what if I could help those therapists? What if I could help those natural healers? What if I could help those health coaches each see 30 people a day? If I just had 30 clients that were health coaches and they were each helping 30 people every day, what I've done is I've multiplied the people I'm helping indirectly. So instead of me just helping 30 people, look at the 30 people that they're each helping. And now that's what gets me excited, is the possibility. Yeah. As I said, we've been subscribing to hustle culture so much. I've become an evangelist for people having a choice in the way they take care of their health. Because what ends up happening is we work hard, we make a bunch of money, and we spend all that money trying to take care of our health in our old age. But what if we nipped it in the bud? Yeah. What if we nipped it in the bud? And I look at that and I think, you know what? The currency, when people talk about health is wealth. I mean, you know, if you ask a doctor, you ask a pharmaceutical, yeah, man, I make a bunch of money, you know, getting people healthy. But it's such a big need right now. You know, people are starting to get woke to the fact that we don't want to be hustling anymore, but we don't know what else to do. And there's this massive endemic. It's even a pandemic out there. COVID was one thing, but look at the hustle culture. Look at burnout. Look at exhaustion. Look at people's lives falling apart. Look at the increase in autoimmune diseases in the world. It's not because they're being diagnosed more. It's because our bodies are run down. We're unable to take care of it. And so what gets me excited is the fact that if we can spread this message of you have a choice in the way you can be healthy. If I can empower these people to go and take their message out in the world, what else is possible when our minds, our emotions, our physical bodies are that much healthier? Beautiful. What is possible? Yeah, what is possible? And that's what gets me excited. And I had to give you the context so you can know where I'm coming from.
I love that. I mean, we can do an entire episode just on that and dive deeper into that topic.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would like to briefly touch upon, and that's something that we talked earlier off the record. I'm not going to get into the details, but you know, you mentioned that you've been in your business for 13 years, and that's when your daughter was born. Would you say that your daughter was the catalyst? Was what is basically your why as to why you actually made it happen, and you're so successful now? And a second, and a follow up to that question would be, let's say that you didn't have your daughter, would you still be on the same path today, and would you be as driven and as successful as you're now if you didn't have that burning desire, that burning why to get going? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always been a man on a mission. I'll be very honest, right? I've always been a man on a mission. I knew from a very early age I wanted to make an impact in the world. And I know there's people outside that'll say, you know, when you want to go and see the change in the world, it's because you need the most healing. If that's the case, so be it, right? And if my healing brings healing to the rest of the world, I'm good with that. I've got no problem, right? But I've always wanted to see the world be a better place. I used to work in politics. I was an advisor to a minister in the Australian, well, in the state government here, right? I've built communities. People are my passion, right? People are my passion. So I think I mentioned that to you last time you spoke. Is I said, you asked me what makes me happy, what makes me smile. Is when I see people happy. What makes me sad is when I see people in pain and I can't do anything about it because I am massively empathic, right? But to ask me the question is, where would I be if it wasn't with my daughter? If my daughter wasn't here, what would I be doing differently? I've always been a man on a mission. I think what my daughter has taught me more than anything else is that to pace myself, right? Because changing the world is fucking hard. Excuse my French, right?
No worries.
But in the process of wanting to go out there and make an impact in people's lives and people's businesses and people's well-being and health, I've got to take care of me and mine as well. Yeah, I'm no good to people dead or burnt out. I've been burnt out. It feels terrible. It feels the worst, right? And anyone who's been through some serious life experience has experienced some sort of burnout. My daughter teaches me very clearly that there's beauty and innocence in the world, right? And there is curiosity out in the world. And I have a place, with my daughter to make sure that I temper myself and foster that curiosity and give that time with her as well. So if I wasn't with my daughter, I don't know if I would be doing what I'm doing now. I'd probably still be a firecracker. I'd probably be burning myself out a lot more. I'd probably be out there a lot more aggressive and a lot less empathic just than I am now. I think my daughter's taught me a sense of empathy. For all the dads out there who've got little girls, they'll get this, right? And, anyone who's got a connection with a young girl, they'll get the value of what it is. Like, I mean, look, little boys, fantastic, but we're rat bags. Like, I don't know how my parents put up with me, to be honest, but we're rat bags. But little girls, they're a whole different level, right? They're unconditional, looking up to you to learn from you, and just want to just give you their hugs, and they just make you happy. You realize that now there's someone who depends on you so much that you can't let them down. But it's not about the money, it's about being with them. And I think that's what my daughter's taught me, is the ability to be there with her. Yeah. I feel it more. I'm a single father. I take full care of my daughter. So the connection between me and Sami, my daughter, is intense. It's a beautiful, powerful connection. And yeah, it's would I be the same guy? I'd probably be some wild, crazy guy who is, a serious activist out there going and tying himself to trees and, protesting things and getting put in prison for doing wild, crazy things. Because that's who I was when I was in my college days, right? So I was a crazy guy. And to some extent, I'm still that. I still have my ideals. I still have my visions, but my daughter's tempered me. Yeah. She's made me more of a man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. Beautiful. Wow, that was powerful. Thank you for sharing this with us. Now, I'd like to resume where we left off. So we're talking about your business, and now you're getting your clients. Now, tell us, what would you say is your irresistible offer? What makes your customers choose you and not one of your competitors?
The fact that I know and empathize with my customers. Empathy is one of the most powerful tools in marketing, right? So I think it's the fact that I know and I empathize with my customers, and I know them almost better than they know themselves, right? And that's the honest truth of it. And I don't say that out of any ego. I take the time, as I said, after 13 years of working with coaches, I can single-handedly tell you exactly what their issues are. They're not that much different. But every time I sit down with that customer, every time I sit down with a prospect, I'll give them the time, I'll give them the effort, I'll give them the energy to make them feel like their problem is unique and that they're being heard. Yeah. The biggest thing is that I'll make them heard. It wouldn't matter if I was selling copywriting or if I was selling, kitchen knives, right? Because that was my first job out of school, right? It wouldn't matter, but I would make them feel like they are unique because they are. I'll make them feel that I genuinely care for them because I do. Yeah, I call my clients my client family because I bend over backwards. It's not always about the money. It's about the relationship. And I put that relationship first. And I want them to get that. I'm not just out there to get their money. I'm here to build a relationship for them. I keep saying there are easier ways for me to get money. If I wanted to do it for the money, I'd go get a job. Yeah. If I wanted to do this for the money, there's easy ways to do it, right? But I do this because I'm passionate and I want them to know that they're in good hands. And I'm not going to be able to work with everyone, but the fact that I choose to work with them means that they're special enough for me to take an interest in them, their business, and their mission. So I want them to get that I'm going to understand them and I'm going to listen to them and I'm going to take care of them. And I want them to know that what they get with me is that they'll be understood, right?
Totally.
They'll be understood. Yeah.
You're totally speaking my language. That just like you said, just like I keep saying all the time, the people I bring on my podcast are not just a guest. The clients I get to my podcast are not just a line on a spreadsheet. We become friends. We get on calls, not to talk business, but just to talk, hey, catch up. How's your family? How's your mother, father, son, boyfriend, girlfriend? Just like we're doing for the past hour and a half, just talking business, life, just chatting, And this is what I love about this, because again, for me, it's not about the money. It's about, for me, the two greatest, rewards of business. Number one is a transformation I help in the lives of my clients, and number two, the wonderful relationships I build in the process. The money is icing on the cake. The money is not the cake. That was a mistake I used to make before, and a lot of people still make. The money is not the cake. Put the cake, so to speak, as the impact you're creating, the transformation you're creating, and the wonderful relationship you're building in the process. If you build your business on that, the money is going to take care of itself. Literally.
Look, I think we've all been there, right? I think we've all turned around and said, look, this is great money. I'm going to go out there and make $1 bajillion. And look, I don't make $1 bajillion. I'll be very honest about that.
Well, make a gajillion, not a billion, but a gajillion,
Maybe a gajillion, yeah. Maybe, it could be a gazillion, who knows? But, look, I'm by all accounts and means, I'm a pretty normal, average, everyday bloke, right? I've got 2 arms, 2 legs. I cut when, I bleed when you scratch me or cut me. I'm a human being. But I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, but one of the beautiful things that I read in 2021 in a book called Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer. This is going to be added to the show notes, by the way, right? This book was one of these books, one of the 2 books that as you're reading it, you can feel your life changing. Okay.
Wait, what is it called again? I'm gonna write it
It's
down.
called Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer. Okay. And it's
Okay.
the author is Dr. Clint G. Rogers.
Clint G. Rogers. Okay, I'll look it up and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Absolutely got to go there. Absolutely got to do that, because this is one of these books that as you're going through and reading the books, you're actually partaking in journaling exercises. You're taking part in things like, certain pressure points that you press. It's because it's a book about healing, right? And it's talking about a 6,000-year healing tradition and how this man is learning from his Himalayan master who's 125 years old. And this is real. This is real. It's not myth. It's not fiction.
Wow.
This is a real story. His teacher is 125 years old. The teacher before him is 165 years old, right? And he says, what is the biggest disease in the world is stress, right? We know that it is.
Yes.
But here's what we don't realize. Why is that stress there? Stress is there because of a lack of understanding. The biggest need that human beings have had over the last 6,000 years is not a need for money. It's not a need for love. It's a need of understanding. So let me ask you this question, right? What happens when you understand what you really want? Yeah? Your stresses drop away because you're authentic and real with yourself. And when you're authentic and real with yourself, what you want may not be, driving your Lambo copter into a mound of hookers, right? It may be just, I want to meditate in the morning. I want to, go for a tennis match in the afternoon. I want to hang out with my daughter. I just want to cook, pad thai and, chill out in front of the TV or whatever it may be, right? All of a sudden, life doesn't become so complex. You don't have these pretentious lifestyle aspirations to live into. That's what happens when you understand yourself. When you are truly grounded with yourself, you know what you want. Yeah, you understand yourself. Most people don't do that, and that's why the traditional healers are there to help understand you, so you can help you to arrive at what you want and lower that stress. But let's take it to one level up. What happens when 2 human beings understand each other? Yeah.
Speaking my language, brother. Keep preaching.
Right? Yeah. 2 human beings understand each other. I don't have to like you. I don't have to agree with you, but I will understand you and respect you. Yeah. Who says you have to love a person to respect them? Oh, look, I do agree that you should love people, but I'm not crazy about, peace, love, and mung beans. I'm like, if you've got respect and you've got understanding, then you don't have to agree. Rather, you can appreciate the differences. Yeah. You don't have to agree with it. Like if you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu, it doesn't matter. I may not agree with you, but I will respect that's who you are because I understand that's who you are. Yeah. When you've got that, conflict dissolves. That level of understanding, that conflict dissolves, right? Competition becomes irrelevant. And what you are now is in the space of collaboration, cooperation, right? And creation. Let's up-level this even more. What happens when communities understand each other? Yeah? When communities understand each other, yeah, racial tensions drop away, right? Secular tensions drop away. Right, political views don't matter. I don't care if you're red or blue, Democrat, liberal, conservative, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't
Green.
matter whether you're green, teal. Teal's a big thing in Australia right now. It doesn't matter what you believe. You believe what you believe. I respect that. I understand that. I don't agree with it. At no point do I have to be complicit and agree with you. But when I'm debating with you, it's through understanding and wanting to present a point of view. Not to hurt your feelings, but because I want to be gotten and I want you to be gotten. And then that's in the space to that. That's where solutions start. What happens at a community level, where 2 rival gangs decide to drop their guns and drop their knives and shake hands and said, dude, let's do some good shit for the city. Do you know what I mean? What happens when religious groups that are currently fighting on the West Bank in Palestine and Israel decide that, you know what, we don't agree. We're probably never going to agree, but you know what? I get you. I understand you. And I understand what's important to you. And right now, I know what I want, and I'm secure inside myself that I don't have to fight for something that is going to hurt you because I know what I want. Yeah.
And
What happens? Yeah. Let's take that to the next level. What happens when countries, governments, leaders understand each other?
planets, stars, data state,
Planets, stars.
yeah,
Yeah.
galaxies,
Yeah.
universes. Yeah.
That's world peace right there, man. That's galactic peace. That's universal peace right there. But it starts from understanding, right? The biggest need human beings have had is that need for understanding. And that's what I bring to the table, is that I will do my absolute level best to make sure I completely understand you.
Beautiful. You know, there's magic that happens because a lot of people want to be heard. And that's something that all they need is just someone to hear them, to say, I hear you, I understand you, I value, respect you. We may not agree, but I respect your right to whatever you want to say, as long as you're not, trying to impose it on me. You said something that is very powerful, is also part of my branding. In math, 1+1 is 2, but in real life, when two people with the same vision, mission, goals come together, it's not 2, but 11. 1+1 equals 11. 3 people together is not 3, but 111. 4 people together is not 4, but 1,111, and so on and so forth. And that's actually part of my branding. The 1+1 equal 11. Just like you said, let's come together, put our differences aside, and find some common ground so we can together, collectively, together, rise, as opposed to try to destroy each other.
Yeah. I because I honestly believe that's what we all really want. Well and truly, that's what we all really want. We don't want to fight.
No.
Yeah. We all don't want a Lambo copter.
No. I've been blessed to have lived in 11 countries, 4 continents, and doesn't matter what you're, white, black, green, blue, purple. At the end of the day, we all have the same aspirations, same desires, some goals. You just want to be respected, valued, given the opportunities that you want. Let's live in peace, provide for your loved ones, and be respected. Whether you're Chinese, American, Australian, Afghan, Israeli, Palestinian, whatever you are, we all want the same thing.
We all want the same thing. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, beautiful.
Doesn't matter what business we're in, right?
This is not just about business; it's about life in general. It's beautiful. It can apply to anything.
But that's how it should be, right? Business and life. There's no difference. Like how you live your life is how your business is going to be.
Just like I keep saying, business, it's not a numbers game. It's a relationship nurturing process. We do business with people. We relate, trust, and like. For example, if me and you were not able to connect and like each other, we would not be having this long, wonderful conversation. We'll not be my podcast. We'll not be talking about possible collaboration. Because I wouldn't care what you do, you wouldn't care what I do if we can't connect at the basic level as humans, as man to man, as soul to soul. So this is what life and business all about.
That's exactly it. It's exactly it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, speaking of impact, which is something that is dear to both of our hearts, share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients as a result of working with you.
From a from a business point of view, or from a philanthropic point of view, or
business impact, whatever you want it. I'm the host. You're the star. Whatever you want to share.
Yeah, we got some interesting. I mean, I can talk about my copywriting results, but that's one way. But let's talk about some of the deeper impacts. So let's have a look at. Let me tell you a story about an acupuncturist whose name is Ellie, right? And Ellie came to me, was making about 120 grand a year. We set her, the very first thing I do with all my clients is we set a very clear financial goal, right? And the financial goal is based upon what you truly want, right? What do you truly want to do? Like I'm going to go into French in a second again, so excuse me. We have people who create a bucket list, right? I asked them to create what I call a fuck it list. It's like, you know what? If you could just say, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway, what would it be? And she created it. And we basically looked at it and said, look, her 12-month projection was to hit $240,000. She wanted to double her annual revenue. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit conservative, but okay, look, that's fine. That's fine. That's what you want to do. Yeah. When we did her first quarterly review, 3 months later, her quarterly revenue turned out to be $260,000 for that quarter. She went from $120,000 a year to $260,000 that quarter.
Beautiful.
Yeah. From a financial point of view, like, she was absolutely elated. She was so happy, but who was even happy was her father, who owned the acupuncture clinic, and she was a second-generation acupuncturist, and all of a sudden his dreams came true, right? All of a sudden she saw what was possible, all of a sudden her husband had less pressure on him, right? So the transformation, right? They say money solves a lot of problems, and some people say money can't buy happiness. Whatever you believe is whatever you believe. I don't really, I don't really push it down either way. But what I do know is that here's a lady who was able to fulfill items on her bucket list in that first year. Yeah. There's a lady who's able to double annual revenue and make that her quarterly revenue. Yeah. I talk about Helen, who ran a training company. When I first came on board with Helen, she was 5 months in the red. That's 5 months of pure losses. Every single member of her family was employed inside her business. And she said, in 2 months, I'm going to have to start laying off my family because I don't have the money to pay for it.
Wow.
You see people like that. There's real people out there. Not everyone is, and her business was doing relatively okay, but, a bad PR incident cost her a lot of money, right? It cost her a lot of money, and she was doing some, she's operating out of stress. The first thing we did was we looked at what her marketing spend was. What was her marketing budget? Halved her marketing budget from $70,000 to $35,000 that month. Yeah.
Wow.
The next thing we did was we run a reactivation campaign. She got 92 leads overnight. I'm not making this up, right? Overnight, she got 92 leads. That month, she made $432,000 worth of sales. In 3 weeks, in the fourth week, the sales manager gave the whole sales team the last week off. Yeah. She went from 5 months in the red to making 430K.
Talk about transformation, not just transformation, but generational transformation. The entire family.
Yeah. The beautiful thing is she didn't have to lay off her family. Yeah. What did that mean is that all of her nephews and nieces got Christmas gifts that year.
And also salvaging relationship, because that could have destroyed relationship within family.
It would have, without a doubt. Can you imagine? But as I said, money can bring people together. Money can tear people apart. I mean, however you use it is up to you. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is that her family got peace of mind. She got peace of mind. Her nephews and nieces, all got Christmas gifts, Christmas was a happy time for them. So, things like that. She also then opened up a charity because in one of the Pacific Islands nearby, a cyclone hit it. And villages were flattened, people left homeless, schools were destroyed. When you talk the Pacific Islands, we're not talking like grandiose apartments or houses. We're talking thatched roofs, right?
Shacks, yeah.
We are talking shacks. And can you imagine villages just completely decimated? She took her inner circle of clients with her that year to the island of Vanuatu and started helping to rebuild schools and rebuild housing and rebuild libraries and things like that.
Beautiful.
And in terms of impact, because she was able to do that because financially she was in a better place that she could start giving back, right? That's the type of impact. All the clients I work with are impact driven. But these are some of the first few clients. I mean, I could go through more and more, but every client that we've got, they're doing something out there to make an impact to the planet. Yeah. But we're making an impact to their business so they can do more of that. Those are the stories. There's a couple, I can give you more if you want, but that's a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Wow. I love listening to these stories, especially of people transforming completely their business, their lives, and then the impact of how that has around them. But most importantly, also giving back. This is what this is what this podcast is all about. Showcasing entrepreneurs who are building impactful, purpose-driven, cost-driven businesses. And this is what I want to see. I want to, with my ultimate goal with my podcast, my publishing business, everything I do is to build, to change the world by creating a massive army of heart-centered entrepreneurs who are doing good around them one at a time, So I love that. It's beautiful. Keep doing it, brother. Awesome.
That's it. That's the plan. That's why I got into business, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, speaking of impact, what would you say is a cause that you're deeply passionate about? yourself?
There's a few, I've got to say, but education is going to be one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
And it's about real education. It's not about just mathematics and English. And look, that's important. I don't want to downplay that in any way. There's
Mhm.
kids out there who don't even have access to the basics yet. But I'm talking about practical educational and skills for living. I'm talking about when kids go out into the world, I would love it for my daughter. I'd love it for her friends. I'd love it that when they finish school and they go out in the world, they're saying, that's it. Bring it on. This world, you're really my oyster. Let's make good stuff happen. Yeah. But you can only do that when you've got life skills in place. And I think institutional education right now is they've started to make some shifts, but they're conversely, like when you look at the education industry, it was basically set up in the Industrial Revolution to create people who are respectful, clean, and timely. Yeah. Which is why you call your teachers Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones, because it's about respect for your future employer. It's why they got kids to wear uniforms, because they would be neat and tidy and orderly. And it's why timeliness was greatly, was a big necessity, so that they would all show up to work late. They'd work their 12 hours and they'd go home. Unfortunately, if we've got an education system that's inheriting values of yesteryear and values that, in an entrepreneurial and changing world, they're not the same. They're not the same values that they started this with, but the systems are still the same. I think as the world is becoming more human, I was about to say more empathic, and I think they are as well. But I think as the world is becoming more human, as people are becoming more entrepreneurial, as we're going from factories back to fields and realizing that, real change is happening, the need to be able to learn how to live life is important, right? The need to learn how to build relationships with people, the need to learn how to communicate, the need to learn how to be, risk oriented, because it's not as scary as we think. That need to not go and dig yourself into $500,000 worth of debt to buy a house just because that's what society says you got to do. But rather, what about going out there and fulfilling your soul? What about going out there and traveling? What about going out there and volunteering? What about going out there and making an impact? These are all human values that are deeply important. And I think education has got the single biggest ability to change the way this world is.
Totally.
Yeah. So I place a lot of emphasis on that. And one of my pet projects is something that I've been meaning to start off, and I stand guilty of not having done it. My business is called Shot of Copy, because, as I said, I like to sit around, drink cups of coffee, and figure out how we can save the world. But I have a pet project, which is, I call it Project Baby Chino. Now, I'm not sure if you know your coffees, but a Baby Chino is basically a coffee that you give for kids. It's frothy milk. That's all it is.
Wow.
There's no coffee in it, but when adults are drinking coffee in Australia, they want the kids always want to join in. So they've made this drink called a Baby Chino. It's just frothy milk, and they put a little bit of chocolate powder on it, and that's it, right? So Project Baby Chino for me is showing kids how to have confidence in presentation, how to have confidence in articulating their voice in the written form. So showing them how to read, how to write, and how to present, how to sell, how to market, all those skills that are core. People are scared of sales. Yeah, people are scared of sales. People are scared to be sold to. But as we said, we're doing this every day, right? When we're trying to convince our partners to go out, to see a movie with us, and you're trying to figure out which movie to see, and you're trying to say, I want to go watch the latest Star Wars, and they say, no, I want to go watch this romantic comedy. Star Wars should always win, by the way. There's when you're going for a job interview, you're selling. When you're trying to convince your kid to do his homework or eat their broccoli, you're still selling. Do you know what I mean? You're always selling. Kids are great at selling. They're always trying to convince you, and they're resilient when it comes to no. But somewhere between our last year of college and our second career, everything becomes jaded, and we become scared individuals. And so things like presenting ourselves with confidence, things like articulating what we truly want, they all tend to fall by the wayside, and somehow we become jaded human beings, scared of advertising, cynical of sales, unable to present our true voice to the world. I would like, a portion of the work I do to be able to educate kids to have those skills so they can go out there with confidence. And, people say the children of the future, but we've got to give them something to go and tackle the future with, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's where I think education is a big cause of mine. The other ones I would say sustainability. I'm a big fan of sustainability and humanitarian causes in general. And I've got to be honest, I'm an animal lover myself. We have had various pets, but I do like animals. But I think the biggest one is education, I'd have to say.
Yes.
Mm.
I love that. Beautiful. For me as well, education is a big one. And now I love what you're doing. Keep doing it, man, my friend. Keep doing it. That's beautiful.
Thanks,
Now,
brother. Thank you.
you're welcome. Let's wrap things up. And to finish, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, but this time on advices. Ready?
Okay, all right.
All right. What would you say has been so far the best piece of advice you've received?
Wow. Okay. You start with a hard one. What's the best piece of advice I've received?
Mm-hmm.
I say the best piece of advice I received is the one I really, really took, which was trust yourself.
Oh,
You know?
yes, absolutely.
I was too busy listening to experts out there, but the minute I listened to myself and I was quiet, magic happened. So I am becoming more conscious about trusting myself.
Yes. And listening to that gut feeling, that inner voice inside of
Yeah,
you, because that inner voice comes from your soul, and the soul has two main purposes: one, to protect you, keep you safe and alive, and two, to guide you. So listen to it
correct.
more often. Absolutely. Beautiful. Now, on the other side, what would you say has been so far the worst piece of advice you received other than get a job?
Hustle.
Also, yes.
Yeah, I'm not a hustler. I don't hustle. I don't subscribe to it. I don't care how people glorify it. It's not me.
Yeah,
And it's impacted me mentally, emotionally, physically, right? It burned me out. It's the worst advice I received. And it cost me a lot in terms of my mental peace of mind, and it cost me a lot financially as well. It almost cost me my business. It's just lucky I'm just a very perseverant person, you know what I mean?
totally. Now, imagine that you add a time machine and you go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Nikhil.
Mm.
What's the number one piece of advice you would give to him knowing all that you know now?
You matter.
Big time.
You're important. Yeah. You're not just you're not uncared for. You're not unloved. I think that's the biggest thing.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now, do you have your own podcast yet?
No, I don't.
What's your number one thing that's been holding you back? Number one reason for not having your podcast?
I'm pulling the trigger actually. Just actually doing it.
Beautiful.
That's just what it's been. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that I don't have the time. It's just that I haven't done it.
Okay. Now imagine that that you do have a podcast and it's very successful, but today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What is the
Mm.
first question that comes to mind that you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. What's the first question that comes to your mind?
Why are you doing this?
And what's your answer?
Because that's what I was born to do.
Oh, love that. All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
Now,
first answer that came to my mind. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't
that's,
know. But
hey,
that's the first thing
listen
that
to
came to
that.
my mind.
Listen to that inner voice, you just said it.
Yeah.
You're just doing it. Now, the last question, and that's what I mentioned to you earlier, that's my favorite question. What is the smallest thing that you've done that has had the biggest, most profound, positive impact on both your life and business so far? And by small, I don't mean something small, I mean the one thing. Like for me, for example, has been starting my podcast, and I told you my story.
Yeah, this is actually a really tough one because there's many times I ask myself, has this really made a difference? Just I think just literally trusting the fact that I love writing. People told me I could make a career out of it. I failed high school English.
Now that's a catchy headline. Hey, the guy that failed
Yeah,
English in high school is a killer
yeah,
copywriter.
yeah, yeah. Um, you know what? I dropped out of my law degree at university because I couldn't reconcile very opposing views. I was too ethical. I didn't want to just follow what was laid down. I had too many ideals. Um, but the one little thing I changed was just saying the biggest difference or the biggest change I did was actually starting copywriting. I'd always been doing it. I just never knew what it was. Right. And then just having the faith in myself to say, you know what, I can do this. Do I want it? Do I want to do it? and why do I want to do it? And I
Yeah.
think everything else is just history, man.
Beautiful.
It's just doing it. Yeah.
And just like you said, the hardest thing to do is just that first step.
Mm.
That first step. Once you start, once you see even the smallest momentum, you're gonna have this motivation is gonna get you through to the next one, to the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. It's just a step at a time. As I said, I'm anti-hustle. I'm very much anti-hustle, especially after the impact it's had on me. I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with a slow plod as long as it's consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. Totally.
Mm.
If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Look, I'm on all the social media platforms. I am on TikTok, even though I don't really use it as much. I'm
You
really
don't
not that
put,
good a
oh,
dancer.
I'm disappointed. I was expecting to see your nice moves on
My little
TikTok.
dances, my,
Yeah,
my,
yeah,
my teenage dances. No, I had this really funny idea for a TikTok video. Is I was going to show me in my gym gear and exercises that a copywriter does, and I was going to be pumping my pen up and down, like doing bicep curls with my pen, because I thought that would be kind of funny. That's my cheesy humor,
the
right?
pinky. Yeah,
I would say, look, you can get me on Facebook, you can get me on LinkedIn. Those are two platforms that I'm on quite regularly. WhatsApp is there too. And I'm happy to add my WhatsApp number to the show notes. If anyone just wants to WhatsApp me, here's what you're going to do. If you WhatsApp me, you're going to send me the message, and I'm going to give you a special code word, and the code word is payment is the boss. All right.
I love
If
that.
you message me saying payment is the boss, I'll know you're not scamming me. I know you're not out to try and sell me into some sexy date or something like that. It's just that you want to have a proper talk with me, right? And I'll be happy to reciprocate, right? I'm very responsive. I try and be as responsive as I possibly can. So WhatsApp's there, Facebook's there, LinkedIn's there. So I'll give you all my handles, and you can certainly hit me
Sure.
up on all of those.
Send
Yeah,
those to me and I'll put them in the show notes once the episode is live. So
yeah, for sure,
awesome.
brother.
Awesome. Listen, brother, absolute pleasure, delight, honor talking to you. This has been a beautiful 2 hour conversation, and we can keep going on for hours and hours. We'll probably have to do a part 3 in the next few weeks just to see what has been going on in your life and all that, and what kind of impact you've done since in the meantime. So we can do that. Listen, I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your presence, the impact, your TikTok dances as well.
Yeah, I've got the pen here. I'll be doing pumping
Go to
weights
the
with my
pinky.
pen.
Your pinky.
Look at my pinky. Yeah, that's it. That's it. These are my
Keep doing what
exercises
you're
for
doing.
copywriting.
Keep doing what you're doing. Stay safe. Stay awesome. God bless you, brother. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks,
Cheers.
man.
Pleasure.